Production in the mining sector declined considerably in January. Data from Statistics South Africa shows that the sector recorded a decrease of 3.3% year-on-year in January compared to 0.2% year-on-year increase in December. The largest negative contributors were manganese ore, gold and diamonds. According to the data, mineral sales at current prices increased year-on-year in January. Iron ore and gold were the largest positive contributors in this period. Seasonally adjusted mining production decreased by 0.8% in January compared with December. PGMs and coal were rather significant negative contributors in January. For more on these numbers, we are joined by Peter Major, who is a mining analyst. Peter, thank you so much for your time. What's your sense of these numbers that we've gotten? Certainly not particularly great.
No, they're not great, Nastasia, especially if we look at a little bit of history on the production side. We produced as many minerals, we didn't produce. We're down about 10% in production from where we were in January 2019. Now, that's 5 years ago. So this is a growing country, at least in population, and yet our mineral production is 10% lower than 5 years ago. That's bad. And the fact that we're 3.3% down a year ago is bad news. And that's production, that's not even sales, so that means we're not producing as many PGMs, we're not producing as much coal, we're not producing as much iron ore. Those are very worrying, flashing lights. Why are we producing less when we have such a growing population, we have big debt, and these are not bad mineral prices, so we can't say it's not economic to produce, it just means we're incapable of producing.
Let's expand on that incapability to answer the question of why we are producing less. I mean, where are the pressure points here, which I'm sure a lot of the viewers are aware of them, but what else are we missing here?
Let's talk about the pressure points. Let's pretend we're a gold miner. You've got to dig a deep hole that takes 5 to 10 years to get to the bottom of and open up. So that takes a lot of capital. Our gold mines don't have capital, and for the first time in 140 years, we don't have any foreigners that want to put in that capital. We don't have the regular, constant electricity. So nobody's going to dig a big, deep hole when you need electricity to keep the fans and the pumps and the air conditioning going because people could die. So we don't have regular electricity. When we do get it, it's a lot more expensive in real terms than it ever was before. It was never this expensive in real terms than before. So it's uneconomic to do underground mining, and it's unsafe. Then if we look at surface, coal, iron ore, manganese, chrome, there you need reliable railroads. You need reliable highways, conveyor belts. We're falling down on that. We've got ports that are clogged up, ports that are the highest cost, most inefficient ports in the world now. So, yeah, when you bore down, you can find the reasons for it. Bad investment environment, no desire for people with capital to ever put it here, whereas for 150 years they were happy putting it here. Even with a government that was banned from the United Nations, people would still put capital here. So I think it's lack of capital, lack of electricity, lack of transport, and very difficult, unattractive policy. The policy that chases people away and handcuffs people that are here mining.
What's your sense of, I suppose, let's just unpack the global environment here and its impact on the demand for certain commodities?
Globally, Nastasia, it's still pretty good. We hear stories that, the rhodium demand from China has fallen down, or people don't want so much palladium and platinum for auto cats because auto sales are down. The fact is, these are not bad prices. We could sell all we wanted and then some at today's prices, which are all above the means. Maybe platinum is at its long-term average, but palladium is still way above its long-term average. Rhodium is probably 20% above its average. This is a country that has rich ore deposits. This is a country that put the rest of the world out of business when commodity prices hit 100-year lows. So it's like a strong man that could always triumph no matter what his diet was. Now he's not even an average man. He gets decent prices, and it's not enough. So we're acting like a very old, decrepit man that even on a good diet can't do anywhere close to what he used to do.
The other regions that are, just as competitive as South Africa, or rather who would give South Africa a run of their money. I mean, what are some of those regions and what are they doing right?
Well, Australia is a great poster child. The Australian coal sector is 4 times bigger than our whole mining sector. And yet Australia and South Africa were tied back in 1980, 81. So we can compare ourselves with Australia, but they're so far ahead of us, maybe we got to go to Canada. Or maybe the States. The States have revitalized. They used to produce 50, 60 tons of gold. They produce 300 tons of gold. We used to produce 650 tons of gold. Now we produce 100. Almost everywhere, even the Zambians, the DRC, they've increased their copper production. Well, the DRC has increased theirs tenfold. Zambia has increased theirs 5-fold. So there's 2 countries right north of us that also have electricity crises, that also have bad transport, much worse than us. And yet they're increasing their made commodities by a factor of 5 and 10.
Peter, thank you so much for your time. That is Peter Major, who's a mining analyst, unpacking the latest mining production data.